All right, Arlen. All right. Thank you so much. First one. Let's get a little celebration for that. The first webinar with ELN. ELN. I'm excited to be back with everyone in the chat right now. I met a bunch of you already. Hello to all of you. Your energy level right now. 10 is you're bursting. You're so excited. 1 is you're falling asleep at your desk. Give me your energy level where you're at. Brian, we're going to wake you up, buddy. Kelly's a 6. My goal is to get you into the top half. My goal is to get you near 10 at the end, to energize you. All right, Kevin Spanhour coming to us from North Carolina is only a 4. We're going to get you up there, everyone. Next question. How was your school opening? 10 is you knocked it out the park. It was a home run. It was great. 1 is you couldn't turn the lights on in the auditorium. Well, how was your opening, everybody? Okay, a lot of good openings. Good. Okay. Good. Well, what happened from opening day till now? How did we drop down so many numbers? I'll leave that question out there. Let's get started, friends. This is going to be the one. I am going to turn off the camera a couple times or turn off the share screen a couple times to be able to use the chat and interact with you. Oh, sorry. Stop share. We're going to move that screen back. Sorry. I have 2 screens on my desk, and that has caused me. I just had to move this back. Okay, now we are back to it. Sorry about that. Let's try again. It's our first one. Here we go. All right, Arlen, if you go unmute and let me know if everyone can see what we got here. We're good?
Looks good, Andrew. We see the slide number 1, be the one.
Be the one that people want to work with and be around. Be that one, right? So how can we do that? So I used to referee college basketball. And when the assignments came in, right, the games, there was 3 names on it, right? It showed Andrew Marotta, it showed Arlen Peebles, and it showed Kevin Spanhour. And when I looked at that, I'd say, wow, I get to work with Arlen and Kevin, 2 amazing guys. But what did they say about me, right? Or did I say, oh my God, I have to work with Arlen and Kevin again? It's awful. But how can we be the one that people want to work with? When you join that committee at school, when you join that team and you see those names, what do you think? And then what do they think of your name when they see you? How can we be the one? And it's a tricky time right now. A lot of energy right now, even today, right now, 3, 4s, and 5s, the energy level. Well, it's a hard time in education. So I like to use stories to kind of explain some points and make us think about some things. So there was a school district in Illinois that hired 2 shoe salespeople, and they were going to send them out to a remote island off the coast of Portugal. And they were going to sell shoes. They wanted to try a different idea. It was a remote island way out near Portugal, and they were going to try it. So the superintendent sends those 2 salespeople out there. The first one calls right back 24 hours later and says, Mr. Superintendent, send the plane back. No one here wears shoes. But 24 hours later, 48 hours after being there, the second salesperson calls back so excited with a lot of energy and says, Mr. Superintendent, send every pair of shoes you got. No one here wears shoes. What's your mindset today? Where are you with your mindset? I'm happy to be here with you. I've really grown fond of the ELN network. Arlen Peebles is a great guy, and I'm excited, right? I can't see you. I can't share, in person with you, but I can bring the energy for you. So I'm grateful to be here. And again, there he is. Look how good looking and professional he is there. They have a great thing going here with ELN. So Arlen, thank you so much for having me. I am Andrew Marotta. And I am a 20-year principal in Port Jervis. And again, you look at the picture, sometimes we feel tied up like that, right? Sometimes we feel stressed like that. That's my beautiful wife, Jen. And there's my kids. Claire, Matt, and Tessa, and they sell my books. If they don't sell, they don't eat. That's how we roll in my house. And now look what happened. They grew up. I got 3 teenagers in my house. You talk about surviving and thriving. But I'm blessed and fortunate. My kids, I'm coming to you from Port Jervis, New York. It's right there on the border of New York, New Jersey, and PA. You literally can stand on one spot and be in all 3 states there in Port Jervis. And we've worked hard in Port Jervis, just like you in your school. Our graduation rate back in the early 2000s when I got here was in the 60s. And with the help of a lot of people and a lot of hard work, we're almost at 90% now. And that's through a lot of things. That's through a lot of people being the one that people want to work with, that the kids want to be around. As I mentioned earlier, I used to referee college basketball. I was not in the Big Ten out in your country out there in Illinois, but I was in the ACC for 7 years. It was a great run, and I had an amazing experience there. And if you think about it, the 2 jobs, the job of a referee and the job of an educator in today's world, think about the work that you're doing. You're in the spotlight. You have to make quick decisions. You have to enforce the rules. You have to teach the curriculum, and you have to respond in an appropriate manner when people are not happy with certain things. You have to respond there, and they really help. One helped help the other. When I was reffing, it helped me be a better principal, and when I was being a principal, it helped me be a better referee. Here's what we're going to do today, talking about enhancing your pathway to success, your ability to be the one that people want to work with. And as in all my sessions, I want to fill your pockets with practical things that you could use, but I really want to fill your hearts with inspiration, right? It's like that teacher that got all these smarts up here, but if the kids don't love them, they don't love he or she, not in a creepy way, but in the right way, the kids don't really care, right? We got to have the inspiration and the tools, the perfect combination there. I did a TED Talk last year. The recording got screwed up, so I'm hoping to do it again here. But this was the topic of it. I believe, even though you're at a computer in Illinois or in North Carolina or in Portugal, that I believe I could transfer energy to you by our actions, right? It's called Shaktipad. It's a Sanskrit word, the oldest in our world, right? So I'm going to give you these slides here, right? To be the one, I think you have to have a great opening wherever you are. So if you're having open house, if you're having a parent-teacher conferences, if you're having an opening assembly, here's some slideshows. This is going to make you make a copy of the slideshow. And this is what I show when I'm at a conference or I'm at a school presenting. This is what's running. So hold your phone up there and you can get that. If we have a tech whiz and they want to grab it, get the link and then put it in the chat for everyone, that would be very helpful. But that's my opening slideshow. So one thing you could do to be the one is to have a cool opening slideshow. This will make you make a copy. You take out the pictures of Andrew Marotta, and you could put in pictures of your kids, your school, your logo, things like that. All right, I'll leave it up there one more second for you to get it. Wow, look how fast Arlen is. You're fast, Arlen. Gave you that compliment. Now he's doing well. I'm also on Twitter. I think it's a great way to promote your school and the work we're doing in schools. There's my line there on Twitter. And again, it's a great way to stay connected. And my good friend and mentor, Todd Whitaker, this is what he said about Twitter. I don't subscribe to the CEO of Twitter, but it is a great tool to be a connected educator in today's world. So I still do recommend Twitter and really a lot of the social medias to stay connected. So here's our topics for today. We only have about 40 minutes together, but here's our topics: storytelling, support, and successful versus significant, right? And there's no magic wand. It's nothing we do and say, wow, it's magic. And I usually have my magic wand, but I left it home. So I told Arlen I'm going to do another skit today, right? So you might think this is magic, right? Well, this is a coloring book. But look, friends, look, I'll back up here. Look, there's no color in my coloring book. Can you help me? In the chat, say abracadabra. Abracadabra. Here we go. Any color yet? I'm starting to see some writing. I don't see any color yet. One more time. Everybody from your desk, abracadabra. Bam! Color. Wow. Holy cow. Is it magic? One more time, friends. One more time. Let's get that color out of here. Oh, you want a cool little presentation book? It's pretty cool. Instructions are in how to do it. But we know it's not magic, friends, right? We know it's not magic. It's intentional. The people that we want to be around and we want to be like, they do intentional things. So that's what we're going to talk about here. And we're going to start with the power of storytelling. This is my first book here, The Principle, Surviving and Thriving. And write that phone number down. If you're going to do anything I say today, if you're going to take anything away from this seminar, call the Success Hotline. Just like I'm telling you, a friend of mine told me back in 2014, he said, Andrew, call Dr. Rob. He leaves a 3-minute message about success every day. He's a sports psychologist here at Montclair State University in New Jersey, and he leaves a 3-minute message about success. So I started calling. You could leave a 1-minute message about success. I start calling. I love it. We connect. He invites me to his class, and I go down and present. And at the end of my presentation, he comes out, gives me a hug, round of applause, maybe one of these. And he hands me 10 books. 2 of them were his. And he said, Andrew, where's your book? I said, Doc, I can't have a book. I'm a principal. I'm a referee. I got little kids. I don't even have time to go to the bathroom. He said, Andrew, you got to write a book. You're great. I said, Doc, I don't know how. He said, you don't have to know how. He said, just write down the things you're doing as a principal. I got ADD. It's a superpower, not a disability. I didn't text and drive, but I did talk to text on the way home. And I had 60 things the next day, that night. The next day at school, I always have my notepad, always have something to write with, right? 40 more. So in less than 24 hours, I had 100 of these tips in that book. And I share this with you, not necessarily to write a book. If you're thinking about writing a book, I urge you to do it. But I share this with you that your interactions matter. The stuff we say and do with those around us have a deep impact. And Dr. Rob changed my life. Real quick, I'm going to give this book away. First person in the chat. Kevin Spanauer, you're not eligible. What's my wife's name? First person in the chat. You get that, and I'll mail it to you. I'll sign it. See if people are paying attention. Maybe nobody caught it. Melissa, no, Diana, not Melissa. Sorry, Kelly. There we go. Is it Tandra? No, Tandra, you first? Yeah, Tandra. Jennifer, Tandra, awesome. You got it. Jennifer. People said Deb, Kelly, Nancy, Celeste. You guys are just throwing out names. Celeste. Oh, that was funny. Tandra, make sure you message me your address and we'll get that to you. Thank you for making me laugh, friends. But look what happened. This is what happened when Dr. Rob, pressed me to do it, and it changed my life, and I became an author, and I was a C- writer in school, and look what happened, right? So let's tell some stories. And the first story here is about the old donkey and the well. See, there was an old donkey on a farm in Illinois, and it was walking, and it fell into a well. It was a collapsed well, and it fell in. And the farmer heard this wailing, screaming, and looked in there and saw the donkey, said, oh, man, you know what? Let's put this donkey out of his misery. And him and his partner started throwing dirt into the well. And the donkey started wailing even more and more, wailing. And eventually it stopped. And they said, okay, well, we must have buried him. And they kept doing it, right? They kept doing it. But all of a sudden they started to hear this ruffling around. And they threw in a little more. And they started to see the donkey putting the dirt on his back and then shaking it off and stepping up. Shaking it off and stepping up. That donkey eventually shook it off and stepped right out of the well. The best people, the ones that we want to be around, are resilient and can shake off the hard times, right? Don't you work with people that one little thing happens? Don't move my cheese. and their whole day is ruined. Whereas that donkey shook it off and stepped up. Be the one by shaking it off and stepping up. Story number 2. There were 2 brothers in Champaign, Illinois, Tony and Mike. And Tony was a very successful educator. He invested his money. He was well prepared. He was a great teacher, and he did very well financially. And his brother Mike worked at the local convenience store, was not a college student, but a really nice guy. And every year, the weekend before school starts, Tony would pick Mike up. They'd go for lunch and kind of wish him, a great year as he would go back to school. And in this year, he pulled up with a fantastic brand new Corvette. And Mike was like, wow, look at that Corvette. They go to lunch. They come back to Mike's house, and Tony hands Mike the keys. And he says, Mike, I wanted to give this to you. You're my brother. I love you. And this is for you. Oh, my God. Wow. Mike is just so thrilled. The next day, the weekend before school is going to start, Mike is shining that car in front of his house, and all the kids in the neighborhood came out. Wow, Mike, where'd you get that car? And Mike looks at the kids and says, my brother Tony gave it to me. And the kids then said, I wish I. What did they say? Fill in the blank in the chat. What did those kids say to Mike when he said, my brother Tony gave it to me? I wish I. Put it in the chat. What do you think they said to Mike? Yeah, right, Tammy. I wish I had. Jody, I wish I had a brother like that. Yeah, I wish I had a brother like that. Maureen, I wish I had a brother like that, right? Not these kids. These kids had big hearts. I wish, Yvette, I wish I had. It's okay to feel that way, friends. They said, I wish I could be a brother like that. I wish I could be a brother like that. The ones we want to be around, to be the one, you got to do for others, serve for others, not receive. Yes, and we all like to receive gifts. But we got to go out there doing for others, because there's a lot of satisfaction and a lot of growth in doing for others. So I wish I could be a brother like that. Last story here, and I like props and I like pencils. Again, Arlen, if you could take that QR code, right? Storytelling, to be the one. You're going to get up there and give a speech this year to a group of 3rd graders. Do the pencil. It's a great story, right? So if I was on stage and I had people there, I'd invite somebody up to join me, and I'd say, hey, is this a great pencil? And I'd have some back and forth with them. It's always fun to have a little back and forth with somebody. And you say, well, what are some things that make it great? And they're going to say, oh, yeah, it's this, it's that. And you're going to start with the point, and you're going to say, yeah, it needs to be sharpened. Look, it's a little flat. It needs to be sharpened. A great pencil sharpens itself. That's one of the things that makes it great. When it gets dull, it sharpens. Number 2, the eraser. A great pencil can fix their mistakes. I sent out a memo today to 5,000 families here in Port Jervis. There was a spelling error in it. Fix it and move on. The best pencils, the best people fix their mistakes. 3rd, if I ask this pencil to write all over my office, every surface in my office, it could, right? My computer, my mug, it could write on it. It's adaptable to whatever surface it is. 4th, it's in my hands. If this pencil was just on the table by itself, it's not going to be as great. We as educators have to allow ourselves to be held in other people's hands. The 4th attribute of the great pencil. And lastly, this is a cool pencil. It's got our school colors, red. What's more important, friends? What's on the outside of the pencil or what's on the inside? Obviously, it's the inside, the lead, right? All those things there. And we say that to be a great student, to be a great educator, you be like the great pencil, the 5 attributes of the great pencil. Arlen just put that in the chat. Thank you, Arlen, for doing that. The best people, the ones that people want to be around, are great storytellers. I just gave you a few great stories. Oh, I clicked on that, Arlen. Sorry. There we are. Oh, then what did I do to my screen? Sorry. I clicked on the link by accident. Am I still there, Arlen? You can see my screen?
Yeah, you're back.
Good. Okay. You bet you tell the right story at the right time to the right people. I love watching movies. My family and I watched Air last year, and I loved it. It's the story of Michael Jordan signing with Nike. And I'm not going to ruin the ending because you know the ending. Michael Jordan does sign with Nike. I think people in Illinois know who Michael Jordan is, right? Arlen is also another blog right there. Yeah, Yvette, it is a great story and a great movie. So Mrs. Jordan calls Phil Knight and says, we're going to sign with you. Yes. They're excited. Nike was ecstatic. And Mrs. Jordan said, there's just one thing, Phil. Michael needs 5% of every shoe sold. What? What? We can't do that. That would make him an owner in the company. We can't do that. And Mrs. Jordan said it. She said, Phil, it's just a shoe until Michael steps into it. Well, fellow educators, it's just a classroom until you teach it. It's just another school until you're the principal in it. It's just another district until you become the superintendent in it. The best people make a difference where they are. Do you think Michael Jordan made a difference with Nike? Just a little bit. Well, you do the same in your district because you are going to be the one that people want to be around. They make a difference in the work they're doing. Great story there and a great blog. And what are the most important stories? Right now in the chat, friends, what are the most important stories? The best stories. Our stories. That's right, Marla. Marla, you got to go to everyone so they can see your answers. Yvette, go to everyone so they can see your answers. Marla, it's our stories, right? The ones we tell ourselves. The ones we tell ourselves are the most important. So if you're sitting in your desk, I'd like you to stand right now. You might feel silly in your office by yourself, but I'd like you to stand. Okay? We're going to tell ourselves a story. The best people talk to themselves more than they listen to themselves, right? When we listen to ourselves, doubt creeps in, different things like that. When we tell ourselves what we need to hear, things can be a little different. So with me right now, everybody put your right hand out, and we're going to say, I can do this. I can do this. Maybe you're feeling a little bit down. Maybe your energy level was a little bit down. You tell yourself that you can act energized and be energized. I affirm myself every morning, every day. Thank you, Subahi. I hope I'm saying that right. I can do this. You have to tell yourself because you become what you tell yourself. Well, Andrew, that feels fake and that feels like I'm an imposter syndrome. Well, act that way. And when you act that way, you're going to become the way you act. So tell yourself that that first there. Oh, sorry. In the chat right now, this is our first little break. What's one goal you have this year? Let me hear your goals right now in the chat. Take a moment. What's a goal you have? Jump in the chat right now. And as people are writing, maybe you can help another person. Maureen wants to work on her junior high endorsement. Maybe there's another person in there that can message Maureen right now and say, hey, I did that, Maureen, in my school, and we can connect them. That's right, Yvette. We're going to be positive. Lauren wants to support her team. That's right, Lauren. We're going to do support right now, Lauren. Marla wants to improve attendance. Yeah. You got to make school a place where kids want to be, Marla, to improve attendance. And you got to improve the food in the cafeteria. Wow, master's program, Tonda. All right, very good. Tonda, make sure I get that address. Good, good. Meet enrollment goals. Alicia, I'm going to challenge you to bring your goals past past it. Go higher than that. Everyone, make sure that you're hitting to everyone in the chat. Good. Allison, some of the things we're going to do today is going to help you with that. All right. That was kind of our little break today as we're going to switch to the second part. And some of you had said, I want to support my team. Well, that's a goal we're going to do right now. Let's talk about support, right? It's hard. Education. I started with a story. It's hard. I use the word drowning, right? Some people feel overwhelmed. Well, how can we support them? For our people that put that in the chat, listen, right? Look at that. Look at that. I use this. I got ADD. Before you're done talking, I'm already thinking about the answer of how I'm going to respond. We need to listen just to listen, not to listen to respond. I've learned to do that. My wife has helped me with this. So take a picture of that screen there. Use the ladder to support your people and be a good listener. Be present and show up. If you're an educator and you want to support your people, get a mobile table and go out in the hallways and be visible. Be present in the cafeteria. Be present at the after-school events. I would go to events after school all the time with my table, with my computer. I'm answering emails. I'm talking to people. I'm there and I'm present. I'm showing up. Nominating people in your schools is a great way to support, is a great way to be the one that people want to be around because they know you're noticing good things. In that QR code right there is a story here in my school district. We nominated a great teacher in our district for New York State Teacher of the Year. And even though she got runner-up, it was a tremendous experience for my school district, for her. It transformed our school year. And even though, again, she was runner-up, it was an incredible thing. Nominate people for awards. Arlen, you are doing an exceptional job of working that chat. I appreciate it very much there. This is a great resource. Arlen, if you could grab it on YouTube or again, the QR code there, Under the Surface. If you're hosting an assembly, you're hosting a parent night, this is a great resource for people to realize people are struggling, right? The people, the ones that people want to be around can realize not everything's perfect for everyone else. Yeah, sorry, the video is blocking the QR code. Yeah, it's called Under the Surface on YouTube, Empathy Film. Sorry about that. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, it's called Under the Surface Empathy Film on YouTube. Here's another one. You want to support your people? I've done this a lot, right? How many times have we just forwarded a memo? Here, team, read this. Read this. Here's an important memo from the state. My superintendent started printing the memo, highlighting the memo, scanning it back in and say, hey, team, I read this memo. Here are the important parts here. Please take a look at it there, right? In the chat right now, what does that do? What does that do when the superintendent sends a highlighted memo versus FYI? What does it do to the person who receives the memo? I know people are typing their answers there. Yeah, it gives value to it, increases the importance. Someone else read it and they showed me. Yeah, alerts you to the meanings they want to see. Good, it's important. It shows me they read it, right? And I got ADD. I don't want to read the 15-page memo. Here's what my superintendent is telling me what's important. And now I can focus on those items. A great tool to support your people. I highly recommend you do that. I never thought this was important. I got all kinds of cards and envelopes here in my office, constantly mailing cards and stuff. I didn't think it was important, but I do it. And you know what? People appreciate it. I don't just say happy birthday. I write a message to them. I say, great lesson last week. It was so great. Have a wonderful birthday. You're a great educator, right? You write a message. The handwritten cards and notes, they're so powerful. And we're getting away from it in our, in our society because of texting and emailing. Write that letter to those people. Write that note. Write that congratulation note. Or you write a note to a student who won the election, and you also write a note to a kid who lost the election. Great tool there to do it. And again, yeah, look at all the cards, right? If you don't have an account with your school to get those cards with your logo on them, definitely get it. Yeah, Marla, you're so right. Cards are so personal and a tangible reminder. I mean, look at my thing. I got thank you cards and notes up here that people have given me that I hang, right? I love to send pictures to the people that I take with them. So yeah, Marla, you're so right there in terms of that. All right. Here's a skit you can do. Where's my apple? Here it is. Here's a skit you can do with your people, talking about supporting your people, right? So this is at a faculty meeting. This is at a parent night. This is at a student assembly. You bring somebody up on stage and you say, Arlen, are you good at science? You know, whatever. How many seeds are in this apple? So in the chat right now, friends, how many seeds are in the apple? In the chat. 4 to 6, Marla. Lauren said 5. 12, Maureen. 7, Yvette. The answer is 5 to 8. So you're all pretty much right. Maureen, you got a lot of apples out there in Illinois. But the answer is 5 to 8. Now, friends, how many apples are going to come from those seeds? How many apples are going to come from those seeds? In the chat, tell me, how many apples are going to come from those seeds? If nurtured, thousands. Lauren said none. Subahi says many. Marla, I'm going to go with your answer, right? If nurtured. So let's talk about that nurturing, right? What do those apples need? They need sunlight. They need nutrients. They need care and till of the soil. They need the appropriate weather and water. Doesn't that sound like what we're doing in schools? Doesn't it sound nutrients versus nurturing, right? Look at this slide, friends. Look at this slide. You can count the number of seeds in this apple, but you cannot count the number of apples that are going to come from those seeds. Those are your students. Those are the people that we work with. Being the one plants those seeds in other people and helps nourish them, helps grow them. That's being the one. Think about all the people you're planting seeds in, right? And you're making them feel a certain way. This is what's so important. You're making them feel a certain way. I love this quote. It means so much, and it's so true. Make those people feel that certain way by being the one, empowering them, enthusing them, energizing them, making them feel special. Do you think Dr. Gilbert did that to me when he challenged me to write the book? He certainly planted a seed that I didn't know I had. All right, everyone, we're almost at our end. We got one more story. We're going to stand up right now. We're going to stretch. We're taking care of ourselves here. We're taking care of ourselves. Ready? We're going to breathe in for 7 seconds. We're going to hold for 7 seconds. And we're going to breathe out for 7 seconds. Ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Got to take care of yourself on the journey. To be the one that people want to be around, you got to take care of yourself. Here's a couple quick tips about taking care of yourself. Make sure you got at least 20 minutes of exercise every day. That could be some walking, some yoga, things like that. 20 minutes, maybe of mindful meditation We all have time to do that. Make sure you're doing that. When you leave work today, you're about to shut this seminar off in a few more minutes. Leave it at work, come back to it the next day. The best people can separate that work. I'm not here to lecture anybody. I am here to tell you that that was a picture of me until somebody challenged me to charge my cell phone in the other room. And I did it, and I grew to love it. I separate, I put it away, and I read that book that's next to my bed. And I talk with my wife, and I think about the goals that I have and the things I want to accomplish. That's what I'm doing. So I'm challenging you to see about charging your phone in the other room. I was so happy to see that Gabby Thomas said this after the Olympics. So many kids needed to hear it. And it was true. She won all those gold medals. And this is what she said after the Olympics about sleeping. So important. The best people get the rest they need. The best people do these 6 things every day. Savers. Arlen, maybe you could write these in the chat. I got it from the book, The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. The best people do savers every day. Silence, affirmation, visualization, exercise, reading, and scribing. It could take 20 minutes. It could take 30 minutes. I like an hour. I like an hour every morning where I'm doing these things each and every day. Sometimes I'm on the elliptical and I talk to text. Sometimes I'm on the elliptical and I'm reading something. So I do a little bit of both of them. The best people do those things every day. The best people are resilient, right? I shared that. The best people are resilient. So say them with me, friends. I love the 5 SWs. Say them with me. Here we go. Say them out loud. So what? So what, friends? Someone's waiting. Stick with it. Being the one, they're resilient. They let it roll off. Not everything's going to work out. It's okay. I told Arlen off air, the last Zoom I did, I was screwed it up. I wanted to make sure I get this one right for you guys today. All right. A lot of stuff. Let's hit pause here for a second. Let's digest. This hour goes fast. A lot of Marotta. I want to fill your pockets, and I want to fill your heart. So right now in the chat, what resonated with you the most? What was the best thing you had from the last 35, 40 minutes together? The apple. There you go, Amber. Right? You can count the number of seeds. The apple, yeah. But you can't count the number of apples in the seeds. The pencil, Tammy. Tammy, you could get this pencil on Amazon. Okay. And then I give the people who I'm speaking to a pencil also. Yeah, the apple, the story, the donkey story. Yeah. Good. Does anybody have any questions now? I have a couple of more things we're going to do, but does anybody have any questions? I know it takes a little to write in there. Well, if you have a question, I'd like you to, between now and the end, I'd like you to think of a question because I like to generate some conversation and that kind of stuff. All right, well, I'll give that a few more minutes. You could certainly throw it in there and we'll get back to it. But we're going to come down the stretch. We did these 2 things so far, right? To be the one. Be a great storyteller. You tell the right story at the right time to the right people. You show great support for yourself and those around you. And lastly, we all want to be successful at our jobs, but we want to be significant in the lives of the people we serve. Here in New York and in Illinois, it's turning fall. The weather's getting colder. Well, in the fall, there's the New York City Marathon. And this is a true story. I like to tell stories that leave an impact. Well, this one certainly does. Mr. Joe is my dad, and John Exantis is my superintendent. Well, in '05, my dad was diagnosed with kidney failure. My dad had colon cancer. My dad lost his vision due to diabetes. It was a rough stretch, and he recovered from the colon cancer. My brother gave my dad a kidney, and in honor of the kidney, he says, "I'm going to start walking." And he's exercising and he's trying to take care of himself. And then he comes out with, "I'm going to do the New York City Marathon." We're like, "What? Dad, no way. You never even walked down the block. And now you're going to do a marathon?" Like, no way. And we do the marathon in '06. We do the marathon in '07. And we do the marathon in '08. And we were lucky enough to have a videographer with us this year. Here he is here in the middle. There's my brother. And there's me and my dad. And we did the marathon 3 years in a row. And on this day, different than the other days, he wasn't saying, "Come on, let's beat our time, let's beat our time." He kept saying, "Let's just finish today, guys. Let's just finish." And if you look at the pictures there, we really were dragging it. My brother and I were dragging him to the finish line. And we did finish together, and we did carry him over the finish line. And look at the time. The first 2 years, we were in the 7-hour range. We walked it. We didn't run. We walked it. And in this year, it was 9:16. Look at that. So I'm talking about being successful versus significant. I talked about the power of a single interaction, an intentional act. Well, sadly, my dad passed away when he got home. My dad died after that marathon. And it was devastating to my family and I. And I was out of school the whole week. My dad died on a Sunday. I was out of school the whole week. I gave the eulogy. It was mentally and physically exhausting. He was a young guy, only 66 years old. And that following Monday, I was getting ready to go to work, and I just was empty. I couldn't go the following Monday, not the next Monday, the following. So I was out of work 6 days, friends. So I finally hear my dad in my head, and he's saying, "Get up and go to school, Andrew. Those kids need you." And I do go to school that following Tuesday. So I was out of school 6 days, principal of a busy high school. And I get to my office early the next morning, and I was ready for people to say, "Andrew, I'm sorry for your loss." But I get there early, and there's 77 voicemail messages. And the first one is from my school superintendent, John X. And he says on the voicemail, "Andrew, it's X. Just checking in about the marathon. I know your dad's your guy. Give me a call. I can't wait to hear it." That call came in the next day. My dad died Sunday. It was the next morning, not the following morning. And obviously he didn't know he had passed away. So I urge you as we end here, do those things to be the one in people's lives. That phone call from my superintendent was a 10-second phone call. And here I am telling you on this virtual session together, 16 years later, how impactful that phone call was to me. So do those extra things. They matter, and you just never know how much they're going to mean to somebody. So do those things. Couple last little takeaways. I gave you the success hotline in the beginning of the session. Please call. Dr. Rob is the man. He's incredible. Please call. It's a 3-minute message about being successful. You can leave a 1-minute message. You do not have to if you're an introvert like my wife. She would never leave that message. Take care of yourself and your family first. There we are on vacation in Vermont. You got to get ice cream when you're in Vermont, right? Ben and Jerry's. Take care of your family. Take care of yourself. This is a marathon, not a sprint. As I shared in the beginning of the session, I think it's so important. You have a lot of information you have to give your staff, your students, your parents. But without the inspiration, I think it misses the mark a little bit. I love this quote. Yeah, Marla, go ahead. Here it is here, Marla. 973-743-4690. Maybe, Arlen, you could put that in the chat. 973-743-4690. There you go. Arlen's on it. I love this quote. That's a tree in Port Jervis. I planted it in my first year as principal. and there was no leaves, no flowers, no leaves for years, no leaves. The grounds department wanted to take it out. The dogs were peeing on it. And now look at it. That was last May. And it was a beautiful summer day or spring day. And look, beautiful pink flowers. The end of that sentence is, he or she who plants the tree rarely gets to enjoy its shade. He or she who plants the tree rarely gets to enjoy its shade. We talked about planting those seeds. Well, plant those seeds. You may or may not get to enjoy it. I'm getting to enjoy it here in Port Jervis, so I'm blessed by that. Right now in the chat, give me your energy level. I asked you in the beginning. I saw a lot of 3s and 4s and 5s. Right now in the chat, give me your energy level. Did I raise your energy level? 9, Jody. Good, Tonda. Good. You guys were extremely engaged in the chat. Good. Well, when you don't feel energized, when you don't feel like it, friends, you can act differently than you feel, right? Well, Andrew, that's faking it. Maybe. But you fake it until you feel it. You become the way you act. So you want to be energized? Act energized. You can act differently than you feel. And I appreciate those high numbers. Friends, I do a weekly blog and I do a weekly podcast. Maybe one of these days Arlen will come on. Maybe just one of these days I'll get Arlen on. But I'd love for you to sign up. You can go to andrewmarotta.com and sign up for the blog. And the podcast is on all my socials. So if you follow me on Facebook or Twitter, you'll see those notifications. Yeah, there we go. So thank you, Arlen, for that. But I'd love for you to sign up for the blog. And all my books are on Audible, and they're all on Amazon. If you're interested in bulk rate for your school, reach out to me. I'd love to discount those and get them to your staff. But if you're, again, if you're on the treadmill in the morning and you want to listen, they're on Audible, read by the author. So you can check those out there. Jody got bus duty, yeah. And before I let you go, Jody, maybe you're saying, whose job is it to be the one? Whose job is it to be the one? Let's see. Here's a story about 4 people. Everybody, somebody, anybody, and nobody. And there was an important job to be done. And everybody was sure that anyone would do it. Anyone could have done it, but nobody did it. Somebody got angry about that because it was everybody's job. Everybody thought anybody would do it, right? You get a lot of this. These people work in your school, but nobody realized that everybody wouldn't do it. Well, it ended up that everyone blamed somebody when nobody did what anybody could have done. Whose job is it to be the one in your school? It's our job, friends. It's our job. Oh, sorry, Arlen, I left it in there. We can all be the one that people want to be around. It's our job to be the one. That's right, Marla. It's your job. Quick little video here. I love this. Arlen, I'm going to play it. Just make sure the sound comes on.
How does Jeff Goldblum stay inspired?
You got sound? Good. Here we go.
Well,
How does Jeff Goldblum stay inspired?
well, in many ways, I like to play music, of course, and
Sure.
but I do find myself coming back to this quote by George Bernard Shaw. Let me see if I can remember it. He says, "This is the true joy in life, the being used for a purpose considered by yourself as mighty, the being a force of nature instead of a feverish, selfish little clod of ailments and grievances, complaining that the world will not devote itself to making you happy. I am of the opinion that my life belongs to the whole community, and while I live, it is my privilege to do for it whatever I can. I want to be thoroughly used up when I die, for the harder I work, the more I live. I rejoice in life for its own sake. Life is no brief candle to me. It's a sort of splendid torch that I've got hold of for the moment, and I want to make it burn as brightly as possible before handing it on to future generations."
I love that quote, and I think it means a lot here.
How does Jeff?
It's been an honor to be with you. There's my email, friends. I'd love to be able to help you and support you, and I hope you enjoyed this session today. I am going to stop sharing right now, and we have a few minutes left. I'd love for someone to put a question in the chat. There we go here. That was a lot of fun. Thank you. And I hope you feel inspired. How about a question in the chat, friends? We have just a couple minutes here. I know people got bus duty, Jody. And if you don't have a question, again, you know, what's a takeaway from you? What's something doing that? Oh, thank you, Diana. Yeah, thank you very much. My wife says the moment I start speaking, she goes into the other room. So I'm going to tell her you said that today. Thank you, Diana. Maybe again, what was something that resonated with you? What was something that moved your emotions a little bit? When you are being the one, how do you get others to also become the one? Tammy, isn't that the magic question, Tammy? I think it's contagious, Tammy. Here's a story, Tammy. I put everyone's college pennant in my cafeteria at my high school. I wanted all the teachers to have their college pennants because I wanted it to be inspiring for the kids. And I got about 70%. And the other people I kept asking, and I said, well, where'd you go to college, Arlen? Where did you go to college, Tammy? And he said, Penn State and Illinois State. And, I called the colleges and I got the pennants. And I got up to about 90%. And there were still people that wouldn't give me the pennant. You know what, Tammy? I stopped trying. I focused on those people who were engaging in it. And, you're not going to get them all. I think you got to be the best you can be. You want to try to bring some people along with you, but I'm not fighting with all those people to continue to try to get the pennant. You know, I bought some, I put them up. I think, you got to continue to inspire those around you, but you're not going to get everyone, Tammy. Sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. So what? Someone's waiting. Stick with it, right? Get that next person, get that next thing. So you can't get everyone, nor do I focus on that. Yeah. Thanks, Tammy. Thank you, Matt, Todd. How about one more question? Guys, word of mouth helps if you enjoyed this, right? You tell Arlen, you tell ELM Network, hey, let's get Andrew back. I would love to come to your school. Tell your superintendent, tell your the person who does the professional development. Let's get this guy to come to your school. I'd love to be there. So if there's no more questions, Arlen, I will turn it over to you, my friend. Thanks, Yvette. This was a lot of fun.
Awesome, Andrew. Thank you so much. We really appreciate. Yeah, right on time. As always, Andrew, you got it. We really appreciate your inspiring stories and your energy, raising our energy levels here at the start of the school year. So thank you so much for sharing that with us this afternoon. For our Illinois participants, I will be emailing out an evaluation tomorrow. Everyone is welcome to complete that evaluation of the webinar, but our Illinois participants will get that coveted ISBE evidence of completion forms for earning 1 hour of professional development credit for your live attendance of this webinar. I'll also be sending out a link to the recording to everyone who registered, so feel free to enjoy that. We'll have that with you as long as you need. And like Andrew said, spread the word. We're going to be working with Andrew to do some on-demand recordings for Ed Leaders Network as well this school year. So you will be hearing lots more from Andrew as the school year progresses. So thank you all for your attendance.
Arlen, too, before we let them go, I'm coming to the Illinois Principals Conference also live.
Oh, yeah. How could I forget? Yes, coming middle of October in Peoria will be the IPA's annual conference, and Andrew will be there with your book. Andrew, I've got the supply ready to go and delivering one of our breakout sessions at conference. So make sure to check them out in Peoria this October. All right, you are now free to exit the webinar. If you hover down at the lower right-hand corner of your toolbar, you'll see a big red leave button, and that will log you out of the session for today. Look forward to seeing you all in future Ed Leaders Network webinars. Thank you all so much for your attendance. Thanks, Andrew.